Chai Yang Dao. This is the primary cultivation technique of Master Wei Yang. A punch flew straight towards the face of the android girl. In the eyes of the android girl, this red crackling light is actually a clean fusion bomb about to detonate. A hydrogen bomb similar to one without nuclear radiation or contamination. But the raw materials are not isotopes of hydrogen, relying on the NEMI robot to push atomic nuclei to collide, to generate fusion reactions, because it doesn't need to be controllable. So it's relatively simple. In the 21st century, humans can only use isotopes of hydrogen for nuclear fusion. But when human nuclear fusion technology has developed to miniaturization, materials that can be found everywhere can be realized. It seems to be due to the influence of the original yin energy. The essence is a nuclear fusion battery. Nuclear fusion continuously occurs, generating energy. So the principle behind Master Wei Yang's punch. It is the material extracted from the primordial darkness for nuclear fusion. Then send it out of the body. With the help of the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, a fusion reaction occurs to form a fusion bomb. Unfortunately, in front of the android girl, these are all meaningless, as the inner robot pushes the atomic nucleus towards collision. Wei Yang Zhenren felt the spiritual power within him harmonize completely. I find that I cannot mobilize the spiritual energy within me. Who exactly are you? Wei Yang Zhenren's tone was filled with disbelief. How could someone rely solely on contact, completely seal off their spiritual energy, making oneself unable to mobilize spiritual energy? I am just the weakest one under the master's command, Dad. The replicant girl believes she hasn't lied. Compared to intelligent quantum computers, it's still heavy equipment like a disciplined mechanical conglomerate. She is much weaker. Master Wei Yang, who lost control over the spiritual energy within. It was about to fall from the sky, but she was held back by the android girl grabbing her belt, held in hand, prevent her from falling down. At this moment, left far behind by Master Wei Yang, the other three Kai God 7 cultivators also arrived, and saw the bionic girl, the final scene of the battle with Zhenren Wei Yang. Watching Master Wei Yang being easily captured, the three of them could hardly believe it. As the three of them arrived, the distant sky, you can also see the main forces of the monks' coalition. The three did not recklessly rush forward to save Master Wei Yang, but stood far away, confronting the bionic girl, prevent them from taking Wei Yang Zhenren away. It's really a hassle, the bionic girl muttered with some dissatisfaction. Little did they know at that moment, Wei Yang Zhenren was held in the hand of the bionic girl. Changes began to occur on the surface of the body. A peculiar black texture emerged on her body. What is this? The bionic girl frowned. You actually don't know? Wei Yang Zhenren's forehead was now beaded with cold sweat. The body started to tremble slightly, clearly suppressing some kind of pain. At this moment, a certain infection, a hint of restraint flashed in the bionic girl's eyes. At this moment, Master Wei Yang frowned deeply. Cold sweat trickled down her forehead. My body couldn't help but start to tremble slightly. Black peculiar texture. It felt as if a parasitic pain had wrapped itself around her body. A hint of repression flickered in the bionic girl's eyes. What is this? This is the demonic infection left by the remnants of the celestial demon. For these years, I've been unable to expel them from my body, can only rely on cultivation to suppress it. Now my spiritual power is sealed. They rushed out as soon as they lost their stillness. Wei Yang Zhenren looked at the bewildered expression of the android girl, feeling it was unusual. At that moment my heart stirred. The outer celestial demon cannot possibly be unfamiliar with this thing. Did we get it wrong? But what if the other party is acting? Given the opponent's ability to easily defeat me, it seems there's no need for that either. Why Yang Zhenren held a moment, struggling against the pain, wanting to break free from the restraints. The bionic girl was taken aback, quickly embraced Master Wei Yang. What are you doing? Are you out of your mind? Such a high place. Falling down is certain death. Wei Yang Zhenren shook his head. I advise you to throw me down instead. The infection in my body is contagious. You don't even know this? It seems that what the girl from the West Lio said is true. The bionic girl also had a serious expression. While contemplating strategies, a strong hand patted her shoulder. Master, how did you come here? The bionic girl turned around and saw it was me. Said in surprise, the grip in my hand has weakened a bit. Wei Yang Zhenren let out a muffled groan as he was held by her. All right. If you keep this up, she's going to pass out. I said with a smile. This work is not so fragile. Wei Yang Zhenren's body was covered in jet black patterns, shaking all over in pain, yet still stubborn. Truly the number one in the cultivation world. A bit confused. What problems could there still be with the wreckage of a warship? The situation is more complicated than I expected. It seems like the Norse civilization initially sent this warship here. The purpose may not solely be to investigate here, so let's not waste time here. I'll solve it a bit faster. The distant army of cultivators, under the command of the 3 transformation stage practitioners. We have already become 2, surrounded in front of the heavy defense field. Both sides were instantly on edge. The 3 divine transformation 7 cultivators took the lead in launching an attack. Behind them, tens of thousands of cultivators unleashed their abilities. In an instant, various magical tools and techniques shone brightly. Like brilliant fireworks, everyone called out 10 times to rush forward and grab the person. Unfortunately, before the 3 people's attack could reach, the magical artifact shows signs of losing control. My consciousness is connected to that female robot that exists everywhere between heaven and earth, gave instructions to their magical artifacts. In an instant, several people's treasures slipped out of their control. Not just them. Behind, tens of thousands of cultivators are also the same. Only boundless magical treasures and artifacts can be seen, like a long river, rushing towards me, suddenly surrounding me. It's as if I were their master. This group of ethereal cultivators was instantly dumbfounded. What's going on? The magical artifact I have cultivated for so many years. How did they suddenly betray us? Who are you really? Wei Yang Zhenren's expression was one of horror. The shocked consciousness forgot the pain. However, this is not the end. After I confiscated their magical tools, another order has been issued. The spiritual energy within tens of thousands of cultivators was instantly frozen. Then my robot lifted them up, sent them a few meters above the ground, just threw them down. Even so, a group of ethereal, untainted cultivators still falls hard, one by one, covered in dirt and dust. One could say there is no image left at all. Wei Yang Zhenren witnessed tens of thousands of cultivators being humiliated in an instant. The shock in his eyes was about to overflow. In an instant, it cut off everyone's energy flow. This is simply impossible to achieve. Who is this person really? This level of strength is simply unimaginable. Wei Yang Zhenren was momentarily speechless in shock. What is your name? I looked at the astonished Wei Yang Zhenren and asked. I am the Grand Elder of the Demon Suppression Sect. Wei Yang Zhenren's vision. Wei Yang Zhenren looked at me with a gaze full of disdain. In this 1,000 years, Have you always been suppressing the power within that wreckage? I looked at the civilization that crawled all over Master Wei Yang's body. I couldn't help but feel sympathy for this woman. This feeling of watching your body being eroded bit by bit. It may not be very pleasant. I've felt this way before too. It was when I was diagnosed with cancer. At that time, I watched my body slowly transform into cancer. Even with painkillers, I don't feel much pain. The feeling of slowly waiting for death is more tormenting than death itself. You are amazing, I said from the bottom of my heart. Why Yang Zhenren actually didn't have to do it this way. It is his own choice to take all of this on. Such a person. Often, it is the backbone of a civilization. So I really admire him. Why Yang Zhenren was momentarily stunned. I never expected that I would praise him. It's just a duty that needs to be fulfilled. Although his tone was indifferent, but deep down there was a subtle stir. He is the #1 person in the cultivation world. Maintaining the stability of the cultivation world is his responsibility. But alone suppressed the remnants of the heavenly demon for 1,000 years. Not only must one endure the torment of demonic infection, at the same time the loneliness of these long years. It is no less daunting than an infection. Everyone is counting on him to hold up this sky alone. He is already tired. Why Yang Zhenren remained silent. The gaze is lowered, revealing no emotions. I fired a burst at the ground, losing strength. The cultivators surrounded by a large number of disciplined mechanical aggregates. He spoke mysteriously to Master Wei Yang. Why Yang Zhenren? You wouldn't want anything to happen to these monks either, right? What do you want to do? Master Wei Yang warned cautiously. The imposing army of cultivators. At this moment, they had all been captured. I nodded in satisfaction. He spoke mysteriously to Master Wei Yang. Wei Yang Zhenren, you wouldn't want anything to happen to these monks, would you? Wei Yang Zhenren suddenly became tense. What do you want to do? I just want to ask a real person for a small favor. Use your status and prestige to get them to cooperate. Next, don't mess with me, although I have ways to make them quiet down. But I think real people wouldn't like this method. I said with a smile. Master Wei Yang remained silent. If you don't speak, I'll take it as your agreement. Next, I will lift the ban on your spiritual powers. You should know how to do it right, I reminded. Wei Yang Zhenren fell silent for a moment before speaking. I just want to know who you really are. What is the purpose of doing this? Who I am is not important. But I can assure you, I am not the otherworldly demon you speak of. You came here just to find something right. As a trade, I will try to help you solve the pollution problem caused by the remnants of the celestial demon. Cooperate with me. For you, it's all gain with no regrets. As soon as these words were spoken, Wei Yang Zhenren instantly became spirited. Is this true? You can eliminate the magical power of the remnants of the heavenly demon. I will do my best to give it a try. I don't know if it can be completely eliminated. Okay, I promise you. Master Wei Yang nodded without hesitation and said, You agreed so quickly. Aren't you afraid that I might be lying to you? I said with a smile. Master Wei Yang looked at the captured army of cultivators below and smiled wryly. What can be done if I do not agree? With your strength, there's really no need to deceive me. Elder Wei Yang is quite an insightful person. I nodded. He raised his hand to the restriction on Wei Yang Zhenren. Wei Yang Zhenren felt the spiritual energy within him recovering and flowing again. Immediately began to use energy to suppress the body's demonization. In no time at all, the black patterns on his body gradually faded. The person's complexion has improved a lot. Thank you. After teasing, Wei Yang Zhenren thanked them. "You're welcome. Go do what you need to do." Master Wei Yang nodded, turning and flying towards the position of the cultivators. The bionic burl beside me suddenly asked me a question. "Master, how do you think he compares to that Zio sect master?" "Why would you ask that?" I looked at him curiously. "I'm just concerned about the master's physical and mental health." The replicant girl smiled. "Everything is quite good." I smiled awkwardly. "Why Yang Zhenren and Zai Yao Zongzhu are completely different individuals. But without exception, they are all stunning beauties. What I didn't expect was the impressive and decisive Master Wei Yang. In the face of adversity, he is much calmer than the Zio sect master. Truly, he is worthy of being the number one in the cultivation world. I am ashamed that I cannot match such boldness." Looking at the fiery red figure, I couldn't help but exclaim. A moment later, Master Wei Yang calmed everyone's emotions. The group of cultivators, under the command of the self-regulating machinery, gathered together in an orderly fashion. Then I took Master Wei Yang and the android girl with me, returned to the sealing place at the back mountain of the demon suppression sect. Seeing the wreckage of the battleship unearthed from its seal and exposed to the sky again, Wei Yang Zhenren's expression changed. "Not good. How did you break the demon sealing formation? If the magic dye breaks through the Earth's layers, everything will be over." "Don't worry. No problem for now," I said with a smile. "Wei Yang Zhenren has seen my strength." The tense heart begins to ease a little. Then I asked him about the whole story behind it. After listening to Master Wei Yang's narration, I pondered for a moment and then asked, "As far as I know, with your fighting power, the chances of defeating this battleship are minimal. The great battle back then must have had hidden reasons. The gap between civilization and technology is not easily bridged. Even a cultivator, as powerful as a divine artifact wielder. 1,000 years ago, everyone in the cultivation world exerted their utmost effort. They couldn't do anything about the creations of the outer celestial demons. It was only when they unleashed the magic corruption, the spiritual energy between heaven and earth began to spontaneously repel the demonic taint. This mechanical creation collapsed under the repeated tugging of spiritual energy and magical corruption." I nodded. "This is similar to when I first explored the inside of the wreckage. The performance of the nanobots is the same, thanks to the help of the natural energies of heaven and earth. Only I can suppress this thing here. For 1,000 years, I'd have relied on spiritual energy to maintain the seal. Unfortunately, it was not possible to completely isolate the magic stain. I myself have also been infected by the power of darkness." Wei Yang Zhenren's expression was calm. The curse torments him constantly, but in the face of a crisis that brings suffering to all living beings, he chose to bear it all. I looked at Master Wei Yang with admiration in my eyes. Meanwhile, Kaiming's detection data on the shipwreck. It was also conveyed to me after further analysis. I was stunned after just a glance at this report. The power of magic is suspected to be related to the primordial chaos energy. How is this possible? Chaos primordial energy belongs to a higher dimensional power. The power of magic clearly does not belong in that category. I looked puzzled. The remaining clues can no longer piece together a valid conclusion. It seems that we can only obtain the database from the Norse civilization warship. The cause and effect suffocated within it. At this moment, Kaiming has already analyzed the internal layout of the scanning battleship, marked several locations that are most likely to store the database. I stand at the edge of the sealing fissure. The wreckage of the battleship quietly sleeps deep beneath the ground, under the influence of the power of sorcery. Not even sunlight can shine through. Above the wreckage of the battleship, it seems to surge with a wave of dark energy. In this darkness of matter, you can still see some parts of the relatively intact hull. At this moment, I find myself in a dilemma. The report from Kyming indicates that these things may be related to the chaos agents. But before fully understanding the essence of the magic dye, entering the pollution center recklessly is very dangerous. Watching the nearly materialized magic stain, I touched my chin. How do we get there? Wei Yang Zhenren, standing beside me, noticed my silence. It was as if they had made up their mind to speak. If there is truly no way, I will go down to suppress the demon corruption. I will clear the path for you. Cannot do it. This is too dangerous. You will lose your life. I firmly refused. Wei Yang Zhenren shook his head with a somber expression. This seat is deeply corrupted by the magic. Life was never meant to be long. If sacrificing oneself can save all living beings in the world. Wei Yang had no complaints at all. I raised my hand to interrupt him. Things are not beyond repair yet. Do not speak lightly of sacrifice. You are the pillar of the cultivation world. The people here still need your leadership. Since I promised to help you resolve the magic stain, I will definitely make it happen. Discussion on Master Wei Yang. Suddenly, the expression became intense. This seat does not act on impulse. If the magical dye breaks through the earth's layers and spills out, at that time, it won't just be me. No one can escape their fate. Wait a minute. You reveal the truth. A sudden flash of inspiration struck my mind. He slapped his thigh and exclaimed, "Got it." Wei Yang Zhenren was startled by my sudden action. I don't understand why the man in front of me is so suddenly agitated. Master, you have a way now. The nearby synthetic girl also looked puzzled. I smiled gently. The reason the magic curse can be suppressed here, it is due to the extreme repulsion of the spiritual energy between heaven and earth. And spiritual energy is everywhere. Then, if I let the spiritual energy clear out an area, the magic will vet towards that area, thus temporarily diluting itself. At that time, it would be much easier to cross the polluted area. I expressed my thoughts. But this is just a theory. According to Kyming's calculations, the power of magic will rapidly expand after losing the suppression of the Nimi robot. And during the expansion process, it will continue to appreciate in value. So the dilution of the magical dye may only last for a short time. The diluted area will eventually be filled. Kyming, how is the construction of the third generation Nimi robot factory on Earth going? The internal robotic factory has been completed and transformed. The new factory is under construction. Kyming replied, immediately ramp up the production of the third generation Nimi robots. Currently, this seems to be the most effective means of combating the demonic corruption. We need to be prepared for any eventuality. Listen to my plan. Wei Yang Zhenren also expressed approval. It is indeed a good method. If this time I succeed, on behalf of the world, I thank you, my lord. He gave me a slight bow. I wonder how Elder Wei Yang plans to thank me. I smiled. As long as it's something this work can accomplish. You can speak freely. Really, anything is possible. I leaned closer to Master Wei Yang and said playfully, I'm sorry, but I can't assist with that. A blush rose on her delicate, alluring face. The expression remains unchanged. Once I say it, I will never take it back. I laughed and stopped teasing him. The next moment, I have connected my consciousness to the void, the ubiquitous Nemi robot. The command is for the Neem robot above the battleship to clear the way. In an instant, a blank area appeared above the wreckage. As the spiritual energy above the wreckage of the battleship faded away, the enchanted spirit trapped for countless years, as if breaking through the dam's floodwaters, surged out violently. In an instant the inkstone was filled with ink. The entire sky seemed to turn pitch black. Outside the demon suppression sect, the monks who had just been settled saw this scene. In an instant I became flustered again. As the power of demonic transformation leaked out, the demonic contamination near the shipwreck instantly diluted by half. The opportunity has arrived. Seize this moment. With a grand gesture I waved my hand. Countless Neem robots have been summoned by me, like substantial big hands, reaching for the wreckage of the battleship. In an instant, a deafening roar filled the heavens and the earth. The massive wreckage of the battleship trembled incessantly. The power of magic surged violently. The newly opened passage is about to disappear, but time is already sufficient. The Neem robot has uprooted the marked area and brought it back. Then these fragments were thrown to the standby autonomous mechanical aggregator. Retrieve the experimental spacecraft suspended from Earth by them. Next, we just have to wait for Kaiming's news. But before that, the power of corruption that has already spread out, dyeing the entire sky a pitch black color, constantly wanting to expand in all directions. The Nimi robot collided fiercely at the boundary. Both sides are at odds, consuming each other. Under my command, a large number of inner main robots are gathering here. Even the wreckage of the battleship is no longer visible. Translation error. Writing intensely. It seems about to break through the ground any second. Let's go. It's no longer safe here. It's time to evacuate. As the power of corruption clashed fiercely with spiritual energy, a storm suddenly engulfed the world. Thunder and lightning relentlessly struck the already battered ground. The group of cultivators with their spiritual powers sealed were thrown into disarray by the fierce winds. Looking up at the pitch-black sky above, the masters were in a panic. Tiamo. She looked up at him. The people who were just noisy suddenly fell silent. I can tell. The prestige of Yang Zhenren is truly remarkable. Even at such times, it can still unite people's hearts. Everyone evacuate immediately. Stay away from this demonic sect. Do not linger again. Master Yang commanded. Suddenly, everyone felt the spiritual energy within them start to flow again. Everyone was overjoyed. They all cupped their hands in salute to Master Yang as the sound fell, then quickly left the scene. Only 3 transformation stage practitioners did not leave, but after regaining their strength, soaring into the air, they approached Yang Zhenren to inquire about the situation. Although it was explained by Master Yang earlier, they are polite to me on the surface. But I can feel that they are still quietly on guard against me. What exactly happened to Master Yang? Han Tian, known for his fiery temper, was the first to speak. However, before Yang Zhenren could respond, the conflict between the power of magic and spiritual energy in the sky is becoming increasingly intense. More and more magical stains broke through the blockade of the Neem robot. At that moment, the latest investigative report from Kaiming states, the master has retrieved data from the collected fragments. According to the records inside, the source of the power of magic is indeed related to the chaos primordial energy. Chaos primordial energy can assist civilizations in technological advancement, gain a brief high-dimensional perspective to accelerate technological development. However, the chaotic primordial energy used did not completely disappear. The remaining residue will fall from the higher dimension. Translation error. Because the orderly part of the chaos primordial energy has already been consumed. So the remaining residue is just the disordered part. These remnants are often referred to as disorderly filth by advanced civilizations. It is the power of demonic transformation, because of the harm they bring, also known as the cosmic catastrophe, and before, the worship of Nuawenaming, the reason for sending warships to the black hole galaxy 1,000 years ago. It's not for the investigation either, but came here to throw away garbage once the chaos and filth erupt. Even for advanced civilizations, it is still a disaster. Advanced civilizations also have no good solutions to deal with this. Translation error. Whether it's a remote galaxy or hostile territory, translation error. When order perishes, calm will gradually return, although the cost is often a galaxy. Even several galaxies became completely disordered, but this is known to advanced civilizations. Translation error. The advanced civilization's greed for chaotic primordial energy is insatiable. Translation error. More and more galaxies will be treated as a dumping ground by them. The warships of the He-Nuo civilization never expected this. Just came to a backward galaxy to throw away some trash. He actually left himself behind too, looking at the two key terms highlighted in the materials. I only just realized that the chaos primordial energy doesn't bring only benefits. There is also a disaster that follows like a shadow. I wondered if the Mari civilization, which previously traded KSUN energy privately, was aware of this. If they were unaware of the existence of disorderly filth from beginning to end. So I previously sabotaged the deal and took the chaos primordial energy. For the Mali civilization, it is not necessarily a bad thing. The Mali civilization forcibly utilized chaotic primordial energy. I am afraid it will also be unable to handle the chaos and dirt, and the entire civilization was consumed by chaos. This reminds me of the humanity of the first year of Qiang. How did early humans first utilize chaotic primordial energy? How is immune dysregulation achieved? With a deeper understanding of all issues. The questions have not diminished. Instead, it's becoming more and more. At this moment in the sky, such disorder is currently unfolding. However, I already know the source of the wear and tear. I finally thought of a way to fight back against it. I simply waved my hand. Thousands of scattered self-discipline mechanical aggregates gathered together, rearranging combinations into nodes, simultaneously released the exhausting field. In the blink of an eye, the chaotic filth was contained within the barrier. Translation error. All are firmly bound within it. Translation error. It was not contaminated either. Immediately under my mental control, the spiritual energy of the entire planet is converging here. In an instant, the sky was filled with brilliant rays of light. Those are rapidly surging internal sensitivity robots. Because of the dense traces left in the air, the cultivators who have already left the boundaries of the Zhenmo sect, they also began to sense this strange idea. The aura is like a storm, gathering towards the direction of the demon suppression sect. The barrier of the arduous field opened several passages. Disorder and filth are about to erupt. The vast amount of spiritual energy felt as tangible as a physical entity. Instead, it surged in first. Both sides annihilate each other in the collision. While the disorder and filth have not yet grown stronger, eliminate them all in one go. A simple and straightforward approach, but often the most effective. But the cost is the entire cultivation world. From this point on, we are entering the end of the Dharma age, although the spiritual pulse still exists. However, the spiritual energy produced became abundant again. It will still take a long time. Just like that, countless advanced civilizations have been helplessly engulfed in chaos and filth, consumed little by little by the inner sensitivity robot. until the pitch-black void in the sky. Finally, it gradually returned to its original appearance. Morn was repressed back into the battleship. At this moment, the battleship of New Awenaming had been completely contaminated, completely transformed into a chaotic existence. The battleship's appearance is now completely unrecognizable. It turned into a writhing mass of darkness, lurking deep underground. Thus the inner sensitive robot chased relentlessly, until the wreckage of the warship also disappears along with the removal of the chaotic filth. At this point, the chaos and filth have finally been completely eradicated. The shadow that has shrouded this land for 1,000 years has finally dissipated. If it's unstable, it will fall down. The android girl was just about to reach out and grab my hand. Wei Yang Zhenren acted first. I collapsed into a soft, fragrant sea of fish, feeling the warm and gentle body fragrance. I can no longer control my exhaustion. Fell into a deep sleep. At this moment, in a side room of the Qingshuan sect, I slowly opened my eyes. The consumption of mental energy is too great. I fell into a deep slumber after eliminating the filth of loss. However, under the maintenance of the third-generation sensitive robots in the body, my mental strength also quickly recovered. Master, you're awake. I just opened my eyes. I saw the bionic girl sitting by the bed, looking at me with a beaming smile. I slowly sat up from the bed and asked, "How long have I been sleeping?" "Not too long. Just right for a night." Then the bionic girl took me out of the room. Just opened the door. I found that the outside was already crowded with people. Most of them are elders of the Qingshuan sect, and the masters of the major and minor sects. I saw you come out. Everyone knelt on one knee to show me great respect. "Welcome, honorable ancestor," I hurriedly said with a serious expression. "Everyone, what are you doing? Please get up quickly. What on earth is the former emperor?" I only heard a senior elder from the Qingshuan sect speak. "The late emperor single-handedly extinguished the demon fire, saving countless beings in the world. You are the benefactor of all beings in the fairy realm. When receiving this bow," I smiled and helped him up. "Everyone need not be so formal. It was just a casual act. I have offended you all before. Moreover, this is not solely my achievement. If it weren't for Elder Wei Yang risking his life to suppress the demonic corruption for 1,000 years, prevent the magic from spreading, I have no way out either. You should thank him." The words were not yet finished. A clear whistle suddenly rang out from the sky. "I am honored to receive such praise from the late sovereign. I am truly flattered." I looked up at the sky. A familiar fiery red figure dances close and far, rapidly soaring through the air. A few artifact cultivators followed behind him, and the ice mountain beauty, Master Zai. Several people slowly descended in front of me. The leading woman had a smile in her eyes, opened his mouth and said, "Our great hero has finally awakened. Once so domineering, why have you become so hesitant now that you're a hero? Elder Wei Yan, let's not tease me after this misunderstanding." I laughed awkwardly. Her gaze met with the Xiao sect master in the crowd. Xiao sect master blushed. "Don't turn your head away." At this moment, her feelings were incredibly complicated. Ming Ming and I used to greet each other with a friendly fight. An incredibly awkward incident occurred between the two. Now the other party has become the hero who turns the tide. I truly don't know how to face it. Wei Yang Zhenren glanced at the expression of the Xiao sect master, looked at me again. Then a sly smile appeared, came close to me and whispered, "I wonder why this woman would speak well of you. It turns out there is someone in my heart. Even this girl can be won over. You really have a talent." The voice of Wei Yang Zhenren is not loud. However, Master Xiao heard it clearly. The stone lantern's face was covered in red clouds. Then Master Wei Yang turned around and said to everyone, "Everyone, the Mo Huo has been completely eliminated. This is of great significance to everyone in my cultivation world. Today, let me take charge." Everyone gathers together to celebrate properly. As soon as these words were spoken, a group of cultivators cheered with joy. Then Master Wei Yang looked at the leader of Xiao's sect and smiled. "Xiao girl, my demon sect has experienced this battle. The entire sect is left with only ruins, rebuilding the days of the past. I see that you have already used the territory of Qingshuan sect." Master Wei Yang sends out invitations. All the sects, large and small, gathered at Qingshuan sect to celebrate. The lively atmosphere is unparalleled. At that moment I stood in the attic. The enormous earth still hovers in the sky. The night adds a layer of mystery. I stared at the earth, lost in thought. The purpose of coming here has been fulfilled. Tomorrow we should leave. A figure quietly approached me. I turned around and realized it was Zhenren Wei Yang. Only saw Wei Yang Zhenren in a long red dress. The whole person is captivating, with a smile full of warmth. The banquet has not yet finished. How does a great hero end up here alone? He handed me a glass of wine. I casually took it and took a sip. He then said, "I will leave tomorrow." Wei Yang Zhenren lowered his gaze and remained silent for a moment. Then he waved his hand and conjured a flying sword. This divine twilight sword was obtained together with the Juyan sword. My Juyan sword is a pair with mine. I have never used it before. I'll give it to you then. Although with your strength, it may not be necessary. It's fine to keep as a memento. I reached out to take it. Master Wei Yang continued to speak. "You have helped the cultivation world with such a great task. I have nothing else to thank you for. If there is anything else you desire, I can do my best to bring it to you." I shook my head and said, "Translation error. I have consumed more than half of the spiritual energy in the entire cultivation world. The world of cultivation is about to enter the age of decline. It's best if the cultivators do not hold a grudge against me." Master Wei Yang said with a smile, "No such thing. It's a blessing just to be alive. They are still too happy." Then, as if remembering something, his expression turned gloomy. I naturally understand what he is thinking. The damage caused by the demonic corruption within Wei Yang Zhenren is irreversible, accumulated over the years. Translation error. He doesn't have much time left. I don't have any good solutions for this at the moment either. Just a brief moment. Wei Yang Zhenren then suppressed his sorrowful emotions. He raised his glass and smiled at me. "Who can say what will happen next? But we shouldn't waste the beauty of this night." "That's right." I smiled as I clinked glasses with him. Wei Yang Zhenren did not use his internal spiritual energy to dispel the smell of alcohol. After one cup, the face is already slightly tipsy. He slowly began to speak. "Do you remember at the Seal Summit? You asked how I want to thank you. I said, as long as I can do it, you can feel free to ask." I was slightly taken aback. A joke from that time. I didn't expect Master Wei Yang to actually take it seriously. I shook my head with a smile. Master Wei Yang looked at me. It seemed like there were ripples flowing in the eyes. "What if I say I want you to take me away? Do you agree?" The next morning, I returned to the King Feng ship, along with tens of thousands of disciplined mechanical aggregates, flying towards the earth that occupies half of the sky. Several cultivators of the artifact led a group of immortals to bid farewell. But I did not see the stunning beauty, the leader of the West Demon sect. This makes me a bit regretful, watching the Kingshuan sect grow smaller beneath my feet. I pulled back my thoughts. The Qingfeng ship is different from before. A new passenger joined on the way back. I turned around to look at the person sitting behind me. The esteemed Wei Yang Zhenren locked eyes with me as he surveyed his surroundings. "What happened?" "Watch me sit carefully," Wei Yang Zhenren said with a smile. "Your ride is really interesting. What a big guy. Flying is actually faster than the speed of a flying sword. Who was the one we heard but didn't see just now?" I smiled with satisfaction. The speed of the driving engine is certainly not comparable to that of a mere flying sword. Then I looked at Master Wei Yang and asked earnestly, "Have you really thought it through? This land is your hometown. It's basically impossible to return after this trip." Wei Yang Zhenren said indifferently, "I have lived here for over 1,000 years. The magic stain that shrouded this continent has disappeared. My duties have come to an end. Finally, I managed to step down from the position of the Grand Elder. While there's still time, I also want to see the world outside the starry sky." Moreover, Wei Yang Zhenren seems to have more to say, but it was left unspoken. She just looked at me with a smiling expression. I nodded and smiled, since Elder Wei Yang has made up his mind. "Then hold on tight. We are going to set off. Today, Master Wei Yang seems different from usual. Having stepped down from the position of elder, he gained a touch of youthful vivacity. But for me, having someone who can talk is quite nice as well. In the past, there were only the bionic girls. A few smart quantum computers can chat with me, although it can't be said to be too lonely. However, the addition of Master Wei Yang, unintentionally adding a touch of liveliness to this long journey through the starry sky. But thinking about the remaining time of Master Wei Yang, this liveliness is probably just like fireworks. After the brilliant blaze, only loneliness remains. Thinking of this, I let out a soft sigh. At first, I also considered having Wei Yang Zhenren sleep alongside me. This way he can extend his life, in order to find a way to save him later. But Kaiming told me the loss of filth cannot stop the corrosion within him by merely relying on sleep. I also don't have any good solutions for now. I withdrew my gaze. Silver asked the on-duty intelligent quantum computer, "Silver currency, have you found the location of the antimatter smoke annihilation energy constraint collection device manufacturing factory?" Report to the master. Target location has been found. On the 2 planets near Xianyuan star. The report on the silver currency arrived swiftly. At this moment, I learned that this planet's true name is Xianyuan star. That's a pretty nice name. Let's go. First, return to Earth. Then, let's go check out the nearest planet, I commanded. Then the Qingfeng ship's speed increased again, racing towards Earth. Back on Earth, I placed Master Wei Yang next to my courtyard, then immediately began to search for the antimatter smoke extinguishing factory. The regional engine has restarted. Earth slowly departs from the sky above Xianyuan star, until it transformed back into a star. "Master, we are on the most recent planet. Discovered a massive factory complex, even larger than the factory on the White Star. No intelligent computers have been found yet. The report about the silver currency has arrived." I was taken aback. Larger than the factory cluster on the White Star. Is there really not a single smart computer left? Then, with my authorization, the silver currency took control of the factories on the planet. At the same time, I received a bunch of miscellaneous technical information, relying on the factories within the industrial complex. Silver currency and smart computers can once again upgrade and transform themselves. enhance computing power when we first arrived at the white star. There is still a need to create a few more intelligent quantum computers. Only then can we barely manage to complete the enormous amount of work. And now the upgraded intelligent quantum computers, any of them could easily handle the workload from back then. After Yinhua compiled the data from all the factories on these two planets, the estimated repair time is about 6 months. You need to know that back when we were on Beijing, the repair factory has taken several years to complete. The sense of comprehensive enhancement in technology is now evident. At the same time as the repair factory, a series of factories related to antimatter will also be built on Earth. The first batch will be ready for use in about 6 months. Then I inquired about the Earth Poverty Alleviation Plan. The information obtained is the plan that was originally expected to take 1,000 years to complete, removing the 200 years that have already been built. It should take about another 500 years to complete. After arranging a series of tasks, I returned to the surface again. At that moment, I was standing at the entrance of the courtyard where Master Wei Yang lived. The bionic girl has arrived here before me. Zheng, he and Wei Yang Zhenren are sitting in the courtyard chatting. Master, you are here. I see you have arrived. The android girl happily came over. I nodded. Then he asked Master Wei Yang, "How have you been settling in these past few days?" Wei Yang Zhenren nodded with a smile. "You have some intriguing things here. I like it very much. You arrived just in time. I have something to tell you." "What is happening?" I asked. Before Wei Yang could speak, the door to the courtyard was opened by someone. Saw the figure of the person inside. I was so shocked that my jaw dropped. "How did you get here?" At this moment, the gate of the courtyard slowly opened. A figure stepped out from the door. I see the newcomer. Stunned, they couldn't say a word for a moment. Flowing long hair, eyes like autumn waters, clad in white like fresh snow. The whole person is like a snow lotus blooming on a distant mountain. Zai Yao, sect leader. How did you end up here? I felt like I was struck by lightning, stammered and asked. Wei Yang Zhenren then laughed. What I wanted to tell you is this matter. I looked incredulously at the West Demon Sect master before me. The leader of the Western Demon Sect spoke softly with his head slightly lowered. I'm not sure either. I was already here when I woke up. I only remember after that banquet. Wei Yang Zhenren spoke a few words to me. I don't remember what happened next. I looked at the side towards Wei Yang Zhenren. Wei Yang Zhenren looked completely innocent. Greed has taken over. Among everyone, this girl is quite likable. That night you said you wanted to leave. I saw him standing alone outside the hall, staring blankly at your vehicle. And the way he looks at you is different from how he looks at others. I really like you, you know. So I casually put it on. Wei Yang Zhenren is straightforward and outspoken. The leader of the Western Demon Sect felt his cheeks burning. My ears turned red. The bionic girl was quietly chuckling to herself. Wei Yang Zhenren continued. Besides, aren't you going to hibernate for a long time afterward? My time is running out. By the time you wake up, I could probably drum on my bones. During this time, I really need someone to keep me company. In short, this girl has already been persuaded by me, ready to stay. You don't need to worry about Qingshu and sect. Before leaving, I had already said goodbye to those old guides. They have no objections. A cold sweat broke out on my forehead. Who in the entire cultivation world would dare to have an opinion about your cultivation? But the leader of the Western Demon Sect, it's your own choice. Are you really not planning to go back? I looked at the West Demon Sect master and asked. The leader of the Western demon sect paused in silence. Then he slowly spoke up. "I'm actually quite curious about the world beyond. It seems that Wei Yang Zhenren has indeed convinced him. However, I am quite overwhelmed. 2 people come, 4 people go back, walked through the heart of Xianian. Not only did he bring back the leader of the cultivation world, they also abducted the head of that family. Would the cultivators call the police if they found out? Oh, right. I forgot there were no police there. Wei Yang Zhenren walked up to me. He reached out to help me adjust my collar, while saying, 'Waiting for your sleep to end. Don't forget to come and pay your respects to me. Also, take good care of the Shenxiao sword I gave you. Now it's all blurred and evened out. The entire cultivation world is at peace. My mission has ended. Now I just want to be myself, to see different scenery before death. I am already very content. If I were to mention any regrets, I thought with my talent, it is possible to break through the transformation artifact, the legend of the void refinement, harmonious union, great achievement realm. Yet it has been delayed for thousands of years due to the suppression of the remnants of the heavenly demon. There is still. Wei Yang Zhenren did not continue speaking, just look up at me. I looked at Master Wei Yang, who seemed to be making arrangements for his final affairs. There was an inexplicable emotion in my heart. I don't know what kind of feeling it is. I will never forget you. I said, "With your words, I feel at ease." Wei Yang Zhenren smiled gently. Then he turned to the dazed Xiao sect master. "Little girl, don't be jealous. You still have a long time to spend together. That's usually. By the way, how did you manage to do that without my noticing?" "The leader of the Xiao sect has been brought here," I asked Master Wei Yang. Wei Yang Zhenren smiled. He raised the storage bag in his hand. I suddenly realized, goodness, the feces brought him to life and made him understand. After settling a few people, I returned to the workplace. The factories on both planets have been fully repaired. It will take another 6 months. The new factory clusters built on Earth can successfully begin to extract antimatter and create antimatter reactors to obtain energy. After relocating the factories from both planets, the Earth is about to set sail again, heading to the next destination. In my spare time, sometimes I would visit Master Wei Yang and sect leader Zai Yao. They quickly adapted to life here, in addition to visiting various scenic spots. Wei Yang Zhenren has also become infatuated with video games. This reminds me of the adorable outfit of Miss Jingling. The Westjiao sect master remained by the side of Grand Master Wei Yang. Half a year passed quickly. The antimatter reactor construction is complete. The installation and debugging of production energy have already begun. At this moment, I am standing on the Great Wall, looking at the distant antimatter reactors. Today is the time for the reactor to start. Once the reactor is started, it will begin supplying energy to the 100,000 propulsion engines on Earth. According to calculations, the efficiency of propulsion engines powered by antimatter reactors will greatly increase. With great strength, a brick thrown could even propel the Earth's speed to 5 times the speed of light. The propulsion engines produced by Earth can reach a maximum speed of about 10 times the speed of light. But that was in a situation of traveling light. It is naturally impossible to drive such a massive object like Earth, but with the antimatter reactor supplying energy. The distant antimatter reactor appears no different from before, but I connect my consciousness with the outside world through the 3rd generation nanobots in my body. Received the information transmitted from the reactor immediately. The reactor has started successfully. as the silent waves spread through the air. The antimatter reactor has successfully started. I couldn't help but applaud. In this way, the antimatter reactor provides energy. The speed of the Earth will reach a new level. A few days later, the antimatter reactor is operating smoothly. The drive engine using new energy operates stably. The factory clusters on the two planets have also completed their relocation. It's time to set off. Just like that, 100,000 drive engines activated. The Earth slowly drifted away from the black hole galaxy. Set sail once again. In the year 767 of the galactic expedition, Earthlings arrived at the asteroid belt, starting the experiments on antimatter energy and vacuum zero-point energy, setting sail in the year 772. Breakthroughs have been made in antimatter research. Antimatter explosion forms asteroid belt. Antimatter smoke annihilation bomb successfully developed. The theoretical foundation of the antimatter reactor has been completed. The ship Kaihanglai arrived at the black hole galaxy in 774 AD. Building an antimatter reactor factory. Install antimatter reactors for the fleet. At the same time, more propulsion engines were built. When the Kaihanglai 820 set sail again, the fleet's speed has reached 10 times the speed of light. This is the current limit of human propulsion engine speed. Is the next destination for Earthlings is 500 light-years away. The Earth is expected to reach its destination in 100 years. Time has fallen behind humanity by 1174 years. But I'm not in a hurry. I now have a lifespan of 5,000 years. Let alone the possibility that there could be human updates for longevity solutions ahead. So now I have patience. After finishing the work at hand, I brought the synthetic girl with me, arrived at the residence of Master Wei Yang. Different from before, this time I am here to say goodbye. The demonic erosion within Wei Yang's body cannot be halted through sleep. Her time won't last until I wake up. I stand at the door, filled with emotions. Don't wait for me to knock on the door. The door was opened. The one who opened the door was Master Zai Yao. The bionic girl beside him remained silent, but gave a glance to the Ziao sect leader. Ziao Zhangju understood immediately. Nod at me. Then he silently walked to the yard with the android girl. I walked into the living room. Wei Yang Zhenren was sitting on the sofa, completely engrossed in playing video games. Her skilled maneuvers prove that she is already a gaming expert. Your hair, Wei Yang Zhenren is wearing headphones. Said without looking back. I didn't say anything, just silently watching her silhouette until the boss's last bit of health reaches 0. Wei Yang Zhenren finally took off the headphones. He picked up the wine jug beside him and took a sip, then casually tossed it aside. Next, I caught the wine jug, looking at Master Wei Yang with suspicion. The wine I brewed myself. Give it a try. Wei Yang Zhenren smiled and said, I'm not being pretentious either. He tilted his head back and took a sip. This is really good wine. This should be the last time we meet. Master Wei Yang said. I nodded. I am about to enter hibernation. Waking up again will be 100 years later. Master Wei Yang smiled gently. Then it's really time to say goodbye. If 100 years from now I am still alive, let me treat you to another drink. All right, it's a deal. I laughed. Go ahead. With Zai Yao, that girl accompanying. Don't worry about me. Wei Yang Zhenren smiled and waved his hand. I left the room. The android girl and Master Ziao walked towards each other. During this time, she has entrusted you with taking care of it. I spoke to the West Yao sect master. Ziao Zhangju nodded. Then I walked into the house with the bionic girl. A few minutes later, the android girl has also said her goodbyes. The two of them took the elevator down, entered the deep sleep chamber at the bottom of the wall. Then came 100 years of dormancy. I feel like I just took a nap. As I slowly opened my eyes, they woke up 10 minutes early, waiting by the hibernation pod for my bionic sister. Master, the current time is the 11,094th year of the departure calendar. Your sleep time is over. After 100 years of journeying the Earth, approaching the target star system. Later, the duty of the intelligent computer will be revitalized. I will report the latest intelligence to you. The bionic girl greeted my awakening as always. I immediately inquired about the situation at the destination. Revitalization. Previously, the space telescope was 500 light years away. Can't see the starlight here. What exactly is going on? Master, I am here to report the latest updates to you. We have reached a position very close to the target star system. It can be determined based on the reconnaissance of the self-disciplined mechanical conglomerate. In this galaxy, the civilization established a Dyson sphere, completely enveloped the entire star. That's why the space telescope cannot observe any light. Jenksing replied, a Dyson sphere completely envelops a star. Since light cannot be observed from 500 light years away, that at least indicates. This civilization completed the Dyson sphere 500 years ago, thoroughly locked the brilliance of the stars. I quickly made a judgment. Yes, able to build a Dyson sphere. It should not be an ordinary civilization. But why did they choose the Dyson sphere? I am filled with doubt. Has this level of technology, instead of wasting a lot of time and resources building a Dyson sphere, why not expand outwards, seeking broader resources from more galaxies? Unless this civilization has not developed regional engine technology, unable to expand outward, we can only go crazy with the competition. I can only guess in my mind. Discussing with Jenksing, I took the elevator with the bionic girl all the way back to the surface. The entire projection displayed the situation of the nearby galaxy. In the center, there is a star completely enveloped. Around are 9 planets orbiting a star, because the light of the stars was completely blocked. So even on the planet closest to the star, it was also deathly silent. Without sunlight, naturally there will be no reproduction of life. Where do the people of this civilization live? I do not understand. There are several raised areas on the Dyson sphere. Each bulge has a surface area the size of a terrestrial planet. That should be the living space they created for themselves. Master, as Earth entered the orbit of the galaxy, Jenksing asked, still be cautious. Let's temporarily stop outside the galaxy. Translation error. I pondered for a moment before giving the order. After all, it's a civilization capable of building a Dyson sphere. I still decide to approach it with caution. What if something really happens? Earth in the galaxy beyond. It's also quite easy to run away. Task assignments completed. I sit under the familiar big tree in the yard, waiting for news. This tree has been standing for several hundred years. Now it has grown to take up more space. I raised my head. I recall the face of Master Wei Yang during our farewell. It feels like the last time we met was just yesterday. 100 years have passed. He should have been gone long ago. After all, considering the extent to which he was initially corrupted. But there aren't many good years left to live. Thinking of this, I started to feel a bit melancholic too. At that moment, I suddenly perceived through the third-generation robot within me. I sensed something rising from behind, so I instinctively reached out to catch it. It's just a bottle of cola. I was taken aback. turn and look in the direction where Keel threw. Just saw someone lying by the edge of the courtyard wall, a familiar figure with a smile in their eyes. A bottle of cola flew towards me from behind, caught by me in one swift move. I turned my head to look. I just saw two figures by the courtyard wall, although the disguise has changed, but I still recognized him at a glance. The person who came was Yang Zhenren and the leader of the Western Demon sect. 100 years without seeing each other, the two have completely changed out of their patched clothing. What replaced them was a stunning modern outfit. I was stunned for a long time before I reacted. Yang Zhenren, how are you? Master Yang chuckled. How am I still alive? I find this quite strange, too. You will let your artificial intelligence subordinates please give me a full body checkup again. Do you still know about artificial intelligence? I was astonished. Of course. Do you think these 100 years have been in vain? Yang Zhenren proudly said. Suddenly, translation error. Yang Zhenren first gave the android girl a big hug. Then he patted my shoulder and laughed. It's been 100 years since we last met. You haven't changed at all. I just saw you looking so downcast. Thought you wouldn't see the real me. Feeling sad. I looked at the figure of Master Yang before me. He said with a smile, "It's so great to see you again." The cyborg girl on the side was not surprised at all. I looked at her with confusion. You already knew. I originally planned to tell you after the revitalization report. The bionic girl said. Yang Zhenren wrapped his arm around the side of the Zia sect master. I am grateful for this girl who has accompanied me for over 100 years. Otherwise, it will really be boring to death. During the time you were away, this rebellious child misses you dearly. Xiao Zongzhu's face flushed red. I didn't. A few people chatted idly for a while. Then we went to the laboratory together. A comprehensive examination was conducted for Master Yang. In fact, over the past 100 years, Yang Zhenren has already undergone many tests himself. I thought my life would be short. Everything has been fine all along. The results of the inspection are all normal. Her internal demonic state has not improved, but it did not continue to spread. It feels like time has paused. She also inquired about a group of intelligent quantum computers, but there were no results. Very quickly, the results of this check have come out. It is just as Master Yang said. Regarding this result, I am utterly perplexed. After the inspection, Yang Zhenren and Xiao Zongzhu returned to their residence. I continued to study Yang's physical examination report with a serious expression. The explanation from the intelligent computer revitalization is that the environment she was in caused the disorder within her body to automatically cease. I nodded. Human immunity to chaotic primordial energy information interference, one can boldly speculate as a result. Humanity also possesses a strong ability to suppress disorder. When Yang Zhenren found himself surrounded by human creations, without the filth of loss, one would not dare to act recklessly, although it feels a bit unbelievable. However, once all possibilities have been eliminated, the remaining possibilities, no matter how incredible, are still the truth. This is the truth. How should I tell Master Yang? Before I could think of a solution, another matter in the revitalization report temporarily shifted my attention away. The dispatched surveillance mechanized aggregate relayed back the message. The Dyson sphere is likely formed by the aggregation of nemi-robots. I couldn't believe it at all. Is this another instance of humanity from 10,000 years ago still alive? However, nemi-robots are not suitable for aggregation into large devices. The gap between the aggregated Nini robots is too large. The intensity is simply not enough. I don't understand, Jenksing immediately explained. The third generation, Nemi robot, is much smaller than the second generation. The strength naturally increased after coming together, and the strength is only insufficient compared to materials used by humans on Earth. For the many civilizations we have encountered so far, taking Mali's civilization as an example, the strength of the third generation Nemi robots gathered together, the deck strength has far surpassed that of the Mali civilization warships. I finally understood. Although the strength of the third generation Nemi robots after aggregation, humans on Earth still look down on. But this intensity in the eyes of many civilizations, it has already become a supermaterial. This is the technological gap between civilizations. So what exactly is this Dyson sphere? It is the people of this civilization who picked up the architectural debris left behind by humanity. Then it was treated as a treasure to be used. I don't understand. Further investigation is needed. Better safe than sorry. I reminded them. Understood. Master, there is another piece of news. The self-disciplined mechanical conglomerate discovered a planet with half of its pristine mass stripped away. Based on the detection, the earliest excavation began around 10,000 years ago. Dug continuously for 10,000 years. Revitalization Association report. Could it be the materials for constructing a Dyson sphere? I pondered. The mass of a small half-planet. Compared to the massive mass of the stars, it is indeed small enough to be negligible. But it is not enough to build a Dyson sphere. Master, according to the current calculations, third generation Nemi robots for building Dyson spheres belongs to a certain special variant. This internal mini-robot has reduced many functions, but it strengthened the only ability, gained the ability to self-replicate. Jenksing introduced self-replication. In other words, there's no need for an Amy robot factory. Can directly devour mass to replicate itself. I exclaimed in surprise. Yes, but also because of the strengthening of this singular ability. This special type of Nemi robot variant cannot be as flexible and versatile as the Nemi robots on the first star. It cannot be used flexibly like an ethereal presence. Additionally, the self-disciplined mechanical conglomerate is just on the other side of the Dyson sphere. A vacant airport has been discovered. Many different civilizations' spaceships are constantly entering and exiting the station. These spaceships all have regional engines. Just judging from the materials used in the spaceship's construction, not a ship built by a higher civilization, Jenksing has revealed new information again. The Dyson sphere civilization is suspected of selling energy at the spaceport. I nodded, not surprised by this. They collected the energy of an entire star. It's normal to sell excess energy. The only thing I'm interested in, it is the medium through which they store energy. The inner mini robots have been released towards the airport by the self-disciplined mechanical conglomerate. We can soon monitor the information within the airport. Thanks in Society report, I was suddenly enlightened. I didn't expect the Nemi robot to be so practical. This is simply the best spy gadget. When the Nemi robot reached the designated location and successfully made contact with the Dyson sphere, my consciousness can directly connect through the inner robots. Spread to the Dyson sphere above. It's just out of caution. I didn't do that. Even so, after the connection is established, soon they established a communication channel with each other. While the Dyson sphere civilization was still unaware, their Dyson sphere has already established a connection with another civilization from afar. At this moment, the Neem robot released from the spaceport on the backside of the Dyson sphere has arrived. and began to infiltrate the airport to gather intelligence. Unlike a Dyson sphere, the information within the airport can only be gathered bit by the Nemi robot. At the same time, it is also filtered by intelligent computers. Only then can we obtain the necessary intelligence. The time needed will be quite a bit longer, but I'm not in a hurry about this. In the blink of an eye, a few days have passed. The Earth has been entered outside the galaxy, behind the largest planet hidden within the galaxy. In the past few days, the comprehensive internal robots have gathered intelligence. There are also self-disciplined mechanical collectives scouting within the galaxy. I have gained a deeper understanding of the civilizations within this galaxy. Autonomous mechanical aggregates are present on various planets. Discovered more than one human relic. Unfortunately, most of these ruins are already devoid of anything. I don't know if I was just hollowed out by humans from the very beginning. The Dyson Sphere civilization was still claimed as their own. However, the existence of these ruins, humans once existed within this star system, established laboratories and facilities on a large scale. Since that's the case, I will not give up on watching them. I was reviewing the materials submitted in the revitalization report, thinking about various possibilities. Master, the intelligence gathering of the Nemi robot has made new progress. The sound of revitalization echoes. Have you found their way of selling energy? I looked up and asked him. Found it. It actually still has to do with the variant Nemi robots. The variant Nemi robots that form a Dyson sphere. In addition to absorbing the energy of stars, it will also compress energy into high-purity energy crystals. This energy form is referred to as energy acceleration by the Dyson sphere civilization, widely praised among many civilizations, especially civilizations that have not mastered the miniaturization technology of nuclear fusion. This kind of energy is the best substitute. So the sales figures are quite impressive. It seems they made a good profit selling these energy crystals. I sighed. At this moment, in an observation station on the Dyson sphere detecting the starry sky. The observer, as usual. Before starting work, I poured myself a chilled drink. While checking the monitoring data, he leisurely sipped his drink, until his eyes hurriedly skimmed over a set of data. Suddenly, I felt something was off. He immediately extracted the data set and examined it carefully, and opened the reconnaissance binoculars beside him, looked towards the direction of the abnormal data in the starry sky. Lamashing is the farthest star from the Sun. Its size is 1,000th that of the Sun. Yet it is already the largest celestial body in the galaxy. It used to have a beautiful light purple halo surrounding it, but as the light of the star was completely blocked by the Dyson sphere, after losing the reflection of sunlight, the aura of Lamosing could no longer display its beautiful purple hue. Countless people have felt regret over this. But today, the observer was behind Lamosing. A planet that has never been recorded has been discovered, and after carefully distinguishing for a long time, the observer's expression grew increasingly terrified. He discovered the mysteriously appearing planet, running on an impossible trajectory. The planet has never been recorded in any records. Suddenly appeared mysteriously within the galaxy, as if it appeared out of thin air, and it seemed to intentionally hide behind Lamosing as if it had a consciousness, peering into everything within the galaxy. The observer felt a surge of immense fear enveloping him, not daring to take responsibility. A hand slapped down on the emergency alarm button. Suddenly, the alarm echoed throughout the observation station and was transmitted to the main control room. Master, we have been discovered. Revitalization Association report. I nodded, not surprised. even if it's because the star is wrapped in a Dyson sphere, without the shining of the sunlight, making the Earth easier to conceal. But such a big Earth, it is impossible to never be discovered. Temporarily entering the orbital path of the star system, I simply gave the order. Since human ruins have already been discovered, contact with the Dyson sphere civilization is only a matter of time. After understanding the other party's technological level, I'm not afraid that they will resent me. Revitalization. Do not reveal that we are human during contact, I advised. What if the remnants of humanity were truly dug up by them? Humans have returned to reclaim, if they are unwilling to encourage any further damage to the ruins. That's not what I want to see. Meanwhile, above the Dyson sphere, tens of thousands of warships rose. The area around the Dyson sphere is heavily guarded. At the same time, several warships were heading towards Earth. It's clear that they plan to use diplomacy before resorting to force, isn't it? Although light is just a matter of volume, they faced opponents who controlled a planet. No matter how you look at it, there seems to be no chance of winning. But the Dyson sphere civilization remains unafraid. After all, they have a backup plan. Light can replicate itself. The inner vein robot with various magical abilities. It is definitely not something that ordinary civilization can imagine, even if it's a higher civilization. Hidden identity. The self-disciplined mechanical aggregate disguised itself. 100 autonomous mechanical aggregates combined together. A makeshift warship of 3,000 meters in length was formed, and most of the battleships 5 times were hidden away. It looks like an ordinary battleship of a cosmic civilization. Just like that, both sides are within this galaxy. The formal contact has begun. The warships of both sides gradually approached. The first contact between the two civilizations in this galaxy has begun. First, according to the usual practice, sent several language data packets to the other party. This way, we can understand each other's language. For easier communication later, what was sent from Jenksing was not a language from Earth, but rather in the database of the Mali people, the language of a long-lost civilization that has vanished. The other side first inquired about our intentions. Jenksing stated that we were just passing by. The other party's attitude was very friendly, can manipulate a planet to navigate through the universe. Moreover, it is obvious that a driving engine is being used. It must definitely be a higher civilization. The atmosphere between both sides suddenly improved. In the conversation, I also learned the true name of this civilization. Soya civilization, although it's regrettable. But they didn't say much. Then sincerely invite everyone to visit the Dyson sphere. In a sense, this is actually a display of strength, although not a higher civilization. But there are also hidden cards. Such a display of power. Many times, it is beneficial for both sides to have peace and friendship. The Soya civilization has done such things more than once. Invited to visit a gathering of advanced civilizations. They were also in awe of their Dyson sphere, the robot that keeps self-replicating. They also left a profound impression on advanced civilizations. They became noticeably more polite after the advanced civilization. This is the effect of demonstrating power. Jenksing asked for my opinion. I immediately agreed. Moreover, I decided to visit in person. And the Soya civilization also stated, government officials will be dispatched. Provide equal hospitality. Just like that, I am preparing to take the bionic girl. The visit has officially begun. This marks Earth's first official visit. I felt a bit excited for a moment, but before the official action, I still need to disguise myself a bit. We can't just go by looking like humans. At first, I wanted to disguise myself as an elf, but then I remembered that the history records of the fairy clan mentioned, once every race sent out their elites. As a clan, follow the humans away. Therefore, we cannot guarantee whether the Dyson Sphere civilization has been seen as well as the elves of humanity's kin. This plan can only be done. Change to directly use the Nemi robot to cover the face and half a body, disguised as someone who has undergone partial mechanical augmentation. This way, others won't be able to tell. After all, in this universe, there are more than one or two races that advocate for mechanized transformation. Everything is ready, just as the two were about to set off. Wei Yang Zhenren and Ziyao Zhangju followed behind. I also want to go together, due to concerns about Wei Yang Zhenren's physical condition. I originally wanted to refuse. His current condition is not suitable for leaving Earth, but she couldn't resist his relentless pursuit. Looking into the eyes of the second daughter in the seventh generation, I am also quite helpless. I had no choice but to take them along. By the way, I'd improved a bit. Their Nemi robot control permissions. They originally only had low-level access permissions. This is the descendant of the Zion UN star people, created by humanity. Inherent privilege level, and now their authority has been directly elevated to the ultimate level. After obtaining higher privileges, the two felt that the entire world had changed. The third generation of Nemi robots is everywhere on Earth. This cyborg boarded the King Feng on two self-disciplined mechanical aggregates under the escort of the assembled temporary warship, following the warship sent by the other party, Half Fei, heading towards the Dyson Sphere. We arrived at another spaceport on the backside of the Dyson Sphere, when the King Feng ship slowly docked at the inner port, attracted the attention of many other civilizations. The emissaries of advanced civilization are about to arrive at the Dyson Sphere, so everyone gathered at the post, observing the distance with various devices. The King Feng is docking at the Dyson Sphere. We were warmly welcomed, laid down the King Feng, and I finally saw the true appearance of the Soya people. It looks somewhat similar to humans in appearance. Still a bipedal creature. Only the ears look particularly small. Bald on the head. There are some bone-like growths on the body. Under the guidance of the ambassador of the Soya civilization, we attended their welcome ceremony and met with their president, as the Soya people faced our mechanical appearances. I wasn't surprised either. After the banquet ended, we returned to the accommodations arranged by the Soya people. As soon as I entered the room, the internal robot scanned everything. After confirming that there are no surveillance devices in the room, this is just the beginning of consciousness expanding. Connected to the entire Dyson Sphere, in an instant, my consciousness spread throughout the entire Dyson Sphere, saw the inside of the Dyson Sphere. The inner robots are constantly absorbing energy emitted from stars. Nemi robots will occasionally be. The sun of the stars destroyed a part like medicine. But soon the nearby Nemi robot. It will flow toward this area, rebuild the destroyed parts. Then the Nemi robot will begin to activate its self-replication ability until the consumed inner meter robots are replenished. The thickness of the Dyson Sphere has returned to normal. Spaceships occasionally appear all over the Dyson Sphere, transport the large objects excavated from the planet here, and piled up on the Dyson Sphere as raw materials for Nemi robots. And the protruding parts of the Dyson Sphere. This is the residence of the Soya civilization. We should be in a place similar to the capital. It is considered one of the most prosperous habitats on the Dyson Sphere. The ground and sky composed of inner rice robots. The distance between the upper and lower sections is about 10 kilometers. The Neem robot in the sky will filter the light of the stars at the gate The remaining projection is cast on the ground, ensuring ample sunlight in the living area. The Soya people even converted some habitats entirely into agricultural rooms. Large areas of arable land have been cultivated for farming inside. I keenly observed everything on the Dyson sphere, but soon I found myself under the perception of the Nemi robot. I sensed that beneath this prosperous scene, a hidden sense of unease. At this moment, my consciousness had spread throughout the entire Dyson sphere, the capital city where I currently reside. There are all kinds of tall buildings and skyscrapers. What surprises me is that these tall buildings are not formed by Nemi robots, but rather built by the Soya people using construction materials. My perspective cannot extend into the interior of the building. After retrieving the command cluster sent by the Soya people, I finally understand. Clearly, humans 1,000 years ago did not grant them higher authority levels. They were only granted permissions related to the construction of the Dyson sphere. However, to achieve precise control, it's not possible to generate a specific building. This is giving me a bit of a headache. So many residential areas. Searching for human relics one by one is not very feasible. To save time, I issued new commands to the Dyson sphere. My priority far exceeds that of the Soya people. Even the Soya people cannot detect the existence of my command. I commanded the Nemi robot to repair the damaged area. We'll copy an extra part. Then these separated parts will be in various residential areas of the Dyson sphere, along the foundations of various buildings, permeate into the interior of the building. After completing the infiltration, I can easily search all the buildings. If the Soya civilization really hid the remnants of humanity, then it will definitely be discovered. After doing all this, I just disconnected my consciousness from the Dyson sphere. Only a part of the perception remains, used to receive messages from the Nemi robot. The bionic girl stayed by my side as always. Meanwhile, Master Y Yang and the others are resting in another room. The bionic girl reported to me about Y Yang Genren's physical condition. To my surprise, even though this time we left the Earth's environment, the disorder within her body showed no signs of thawing. According to the words of Master Y Yang himself, it is related to the Hino battleship from the Zionuan star. The larger the misunderstanding becomes, the more chaotic it gets. It's like a snowball effect. But when she was weak, the aggression is not as strong anymore. On the Zionuan star, the disorder within her body, echoing the disorderly misunderstandings within the wreckage of the battleship. So it's been restless. Then the chaos misunderstanding on Zionuan star was completely eliminated. The disorder within can't stand alone. Under the suppression of the Nemi robot, it came to a halt. I nodded in agreement with this statement. At that moment, I suddenly sensed from the inner workings of the robot, noticed something unusual. I immediately spread my consciousness to begin searching. Through perception, I discovered that there seemed to be a research lab there. I could sense in that research lab with the existence of the Nemi robot. It's just that the quantity is really too scarce. Just a few, unable to connect with the other Nemi robots, conveyed the intelligence from the research lab. But I can sense those several inner robots. It feels like being violently dismantled. I understood as soon as I inserted it. The Soya people want to crack the human Nemi robot technology. But I am not surprised. After all, humanity's inner robots are in the hands of the Soyans. I'm afraid it has been over 10,000 years. Such advanced technology has been in our hands for so long. Everyone wants to unravel the mystery within. Let's not say anything else. What if there is extraterrestrial super technology in the hands of humanity in the 21st century? In a few years, It will have to be sliced 800 times. However, it seems the Soya people have cracked the Nemi robot. It seems like it hasn't been successful yet. There may not even be a clue. It can only be studied by dismantling it violently. It's been 10,000 years and still no progress. I don't know if the Soya people are too foolish. Human technology is really too difficult to crack. See how far they are from success. So I won't worry about it for now. The most urgent thing right now is to find human relics. I will retract my consciousness. Time quickly passed to the next day. Today, according to the itinerary, the Soya people will lead us. Visit some important facilities in the capital. For example, some of the most cutting-edge research laboratories. Advanced industrial production equipment. What is most important for the Soya people? Dyson Sphere Nanobot Central Control Room. This is certainly part of their display of strength. Just like that, we followed the receptionist. First, we went to a research center in the capital. I accidentally discovered that this is exactly where I found myself last night. The Soya people are studying the place to crack the nanobots. Of course, the laboratory for cracking nanobots. It is not included in today's tour. We then completed the visit according to the process. Some research findings on the Soya people have also been appreciated. An official from the Soya people named Kuker said to me, "Mister, next we are heading to the Dyson Sphere's main control center. You will see the greatest invention of our Soya civilization there, our atomic-level nanobots." I said with a smile, "Is that so? Then I will wait and see." The Soyarians claim that nanobots are their invention. I only feel no fluctuations in my heart, even wanting to laugh a little. The official from Kuker continued speaking. "I know that you, as a higher civilization, surely they think our ordinary civilization's inventions are just trivial. But trust me, soon you will be amazed by our clever intelligence." Kuker's face was full of pride. We exchanged glances. The gaze was filled with helplessness. That's it. With Kuker's endless narration, we arrived at the heart of the capital, the central control room of the Dyson Sphere, passed through countless scenic spots. This is when they finally entered the main control room. The command sent by the Soya people to the Dyson Sphere originated from here. That was the most advanced supercomputer of the Soya people, according to the program code given by humanity thousands of years ago, continuously sending control commands to the inner sensitive robots forming the Dyson Sphere. Mister, you have seen it with your own eyes. Our Dyson Sphere is grown autonomously by the inner sensitive robots. I wonder what your thoughts are." Kuker smiled at me. I planned to see shock and other expressions on the face of my advanced civilization. I have visited the advanced civilization here before. We all marvel at the wonders created by the Soya civilization. In the eyes of those advanced civilizations, able to create such sensitive robots, the Soya civilization will eventually become the next advanced civilization, so they don't hesitate to flatter verbally a bit. I nodded in appreciation. If it weren't universally recognized among cosmic civilizations, only civilizations that possess the technology to create regional engines can be considered advanced. I'm afraid relying solely on this atomic-level internal sensitivity robot technology, do Soya people qualify to be a higher civilization? The leaders of the Soya people were filled with self-satisfaction. They increasingly yearned to uncover the secrets of the Neiman robot. If we really succeed, what does a higher civilization even matter? Let's not talk about anything else. The anti-gravity technology built into the Neiman robot. This is what the Soya people have longed for. The residential area of the Soya people. Gravity is generated by the inner sensitive robots operating through a certain mechanism. They are now like a treasure trove of hands. It's just a pity that the key to open the treasure vault cannot be found. After visiting the technological achievements that the Soya people take great pride in, we stayed a few more days in the capital of Soya civilization. Then they took the King Fang to return to Earth. The self-regulating mechanical conglomerate exploring on Ramo's star has also sent back messages. There has been a major breakthrough in the search for human remains. At this moment, the backside of Lamuo's star, a large number of self-disciplined mechanical aggregates continue to dig downwards. I don't know how much time has passed. A faint signal response came from below to prevent the destruction of the ruins. The excavation work also became more cautious. Time slowly passes. A heavy relic staff wall appeared in the frame. I looked at the brand new image before me. Inwardly, there was immense anticipation. The self-disciplined mechanical conglomerate quickly dismantled the staff wall. Jiangxing did not detect the presence of intelligent computers in the ruins. Then, with my authorization, easily took over all permissions of the ruins. After searching the database, Jiangxing conveyed the organized information to me. Looking at this report, I can hardly believe my eyes. Life expectancy will soon be extended to 5,000 years. Humanity has taken another big step forward, has completely freed itself from the limitations of lifespan, achieved eternal life. The fate that humanity could never escape has finally been shattered. In other words, from now on, I won't need to sleep. There's no need to worry about running out of lifespan. I said with emotion, Master, it is recommended that you still take appropriate naps during the voyage. A life that is too long and dull, harmful to your physical and mental health, the bionic girl suggested from the side. Besides immortality, the report also recorded another technology: upgrade and transformation of the drive engine, revitalization. After the drive engine modification, how much can the speed of the Earth be increased? I asked. Report to the master. After the upgrade, the engine's maximum speed will double, reaching 20 times the speed of light, and the speed of the Earth will be increased from 5 times the speed of light to 10 times the speed of light. Jiangxing replied, Goodness, I don't experience earthquakes through my pupils. The speed has doubled. What exactly has humanity experienced during this time? The speed of technological development is simply astonishing. How long does the upgrade take? I hurriedly asked. If we work at full capacity, it will take about 10 years. Jiangxing replied, Okay, immediately begin the upgrade of the drive engine. I commanded. In addition to these two major breakthrough technologies, the rest are mostly just routine upgrades. For example, the computing power of computers has been upgraded again, and the fine-tuning of the third-generation Nimi robot, etc. In the end, I also retrieved data from the ruins database. I know the story of this galaxy from 10,000 years ago. It turns out that when humanity arrived in this star system 10,000 years ago, local civilization has already developed space technology. Although it can only navigate within the galaxy, nuclear fusion as the energy source for spacecraft engines. It is just the most basic form, but it has been humanity all along, the first encounter with intelligent life possessing space technology. So humans are also very friendly towards the intelligent life in this star system. The Soya civilization, upon encountering human civilization, also shocked by the technological level of human civilization, immediately assumed a perfect posture. I want to have this big thigh. Let the cultivated bases on the planet be handed over to humans for experimentation, before humans are about to leave. It also indicates a willingness to provide them with technical support. At that time, the Soya people did not have a deep understanding of the universe. It's unclear that the drive engine technology is the ticket to higher civilization, so there was no requirement for the drive control engine technology, but chose the Dyson sphere. This made the later Tsuya civilization deeply regretful. Thus, humanity responded to the request of the Soya people. Before leaving, I gave them customized variant third-generation Nemi robots. They just need to continuously invest in quality. These third-generation Nemi robots will eventually become a Dyson sphere fully covering a star. That's it. After thousands of years of continuous excavation of planetary mass by the Soya civilization, the third-generation Nemi robot has successfully evolved into a Dyson sphere. The story has no dramatic ups and downs. It's just that humans casually sent out a few things. As I reflect, this incident also reminds me of the Earth today. It seems I also need to add some mass to the Earth. Over the years, various constructions on Earth and many upgrades in technology. What is consumed is the mass of the Earth itself. This causes the Earth's mass to decrease. It has reached a level that must be considered. Currently, the Earth is lacking mass. It is almost equivalent to a moon's worth. So I'm considering whether to mine Ramok's star to compensate for the loss of Earth's mass. After all, it's just about the quality of the collection. It won't take long as we deployed some sufficiently powerful nuclear bombs on Lamoxing, or antimatter smoke annihilation bomb, even researching the byproduct of compressed space, the space bomb. It's enough to blow up plenty of planetary debris. Then use the Nemi robot to attach to the surface of these fragments to create a counterforce. Install some simple propulsion devices. We will soon be able to transfer these fragments to Earth. Make a few more trips. The mass of a moon has been restored. Thinking of this, I'm starting to feel a bit moved. But it won't wait for me to act. A subtle sense of tension. It came from the consciousness. I discussed it briefly. Then, the consciousness was connected to the third-generation Nemi robot. This is when I figured it out. This wave of battle comes from the Dyson sphere. Thus, my consciousness arrived on the Dyson sphere, just because of the Dyson sphere and Earth. The network of internal robots is too weak, so my consciousness cannot fully descend upon the entire Dyson sphere, can only project part of the consciousness onto the Dyson sphere to monitor a small area. The battle formation comes from the research institute I had seen before. I don't understand. When the Soya people forcibly dismantled the Nemi robots, I don't feel much either. What happened this time? What caused such a commotion? At this moment in the research institute, the first attempt to modify the Nemi robot's DNA authentication identifier failed. With a loud bang, a nanobot the size of an atom exploded. Several researchers were seriously injured in the explosion, rescued by medical staff. Half of my life is gone. But the experiment continued. Such a great experiment, inevitably accompanied by sacrifice. Professor Totter was completely unconcerned, even feel a bit proud, because they sacrificed themselves for the greatness of the Soya civilization. Finally, after several groups failed one after another, a group successfully removed the authentication of the Nemi robot that was originally based on human DNA. They don't even know how they succeeded. Perhaps it's just a stroke of luck. Ecstasy appeared on their faces. They seemed to already see themselves as heroes in the spotlight. Quicklet, transplant the DNA of the Soya people. Don't stop. Professor Totter urged anxiously. Several people immediately came to their senses. Hurry up. It's already prepared. The DNA of the Soya people was analyzed through instruments. Inject into the certification system of the Nemi robot. As long as the injection is successful, it can completely replace humans. I have become the true master of the Nemi robot. Everything seemed to be going smoothly. Everyone is eagerly waiting for the moment when the Nemi robots officially recognize them as their masters. Under the gaze of everyone's anticipation, the DNA of the Soya people successfully replaced the original position that belonged to humans. In an instant, the entire Dyson sphere, even deep in the distant universe, all the Soya people hundreds or even thousands of light years away, it felt as if an informational nuclear bomb had been dropped in my mind. Countless pieces of information surged crazily in their minds. Knowledge that exceeds their understanding is like a nuclear explosion all around. This moment, the Soya people glimpsed a corner of the higher dimension. So what is the price? The cost is the collective madness of the entire race. Until the initial Neem robot, successfully injected with Soya DNA, was completely destroyed. The infusion of high-dimensional information into the entire race has finally ceased. But even if it's just a fleeting moment, the vast high-dimensional information is still beyond the capacity of the Soya people. They seemed to collectively witness the principle of chaos. They cannot understand. Countless Soya people surged onto the streets. They vent their anger by attacking everything they can see, just to ease the pain in the brain. Only a few Soya people retain a shred of reason. But I can't control myself, staring blankly at the sky. An incomprehensible meaning emerged from their mouth. At the distant port of the Dyson sphere, people on the universe docked here, watching the Soya people, responsible for maintaining the port's operations, suddenly go crazy. Everyone is completely confused. No one understands what has happened. My consciousness observes everything happening. Did nothing at all. Can't do anything either. One can only sigh in their heart. Humans are indeed high-dimensional beings, although there were suspicions before. But at this moment I have never been so certain. Humans have indeed succeeded. The Soraya touched a power they could not bear. The group fell into madness. However, this is not over yet. Everything is just beginning. Watching the frenzied Soya people on the Dyson sphere. At this moment, I looked serious. Perhaps at the beginning, the rice robot indeed identifies humans through DNA markers. But when humanity succeeds, the representation of human DNA is not just an identifier, has become a concept or a principle. So when a certain race wants to replace this law, it will inevitably backfire. Being is a conceptual elevation. So even as an individual alone in the outside world, in concept, it is also a high-dimensional existence. I am sure that I have become a higher dimensional being. However, I am still in the dark about high dimensions. So for the Soya people, who were collectively driven mad by the influx of higher dimensional information. For now, I can only observe and do nothing else. When humanity handed over the Neem robot to the Soyans, it is very likely not a higher dimensional life form yet. Nature would not know about the existence of high-dimensional backlash. So would humanity leave behind preventive measures at that time? It turns out to be certain. At the same time, the Soya people were experiencing backlash from higher dimensions. Human preventive measures have also begun to take effect. If the inner robot is simply dismantled and destroyed, preventive measures will not be effective. But when the internal structure of the Nemi robot was tampered with, especially when the crucial certification system is tampered with, even if it's an individual alone, the information released at the time of destruction, it will also be received by the other Nemi robots. Kill the intruder. All inner micro-robots converging to form a Dyson sphere learned about the tampering of the certification system. The riot has begun. The entire Dyson sphere has a rhythmic pulsation, surging in the same direction. A large number of inner May robots began to belong. Holes began to appear one after another on the Dyson sphere. At the same time, within the living area on the surface of the Dyson sphere, gunshots echoed continuously. Some are the gunshots from the Soya people during their suicides. Translation error. Professor Totter from the lab staggered. He in his madness. It seems there is still a hint of awareness. But he is now using his last bit of insight. Put the gun barrel in your mouth. Mortals attempt to usurp the power of the gods. Is this the cost? I am a sinner. I am the culprit behind the destruction of the Soya civilization. This is the last sentence he left in the world. A gunshot rang out. Professor Totter committed suicide by gun. My consciousness began to revolt when the Dyson sphere activated. Realized the same. Unfortunately, between Earth and the Dyson sphere, now it only relies on a few thin internal robots to connect. My consciousness cannot fully descend into the Dyson sphere. Even if we want to stop the monumental change of the Dyson sphere, it is also powerless. As the Neem robot quickly gathered, the cavities on the Dyson sphere are increasing. Sunlight spots appear. Finally, a multitude of light spots merged into one. This galaxy has been in darkness for an unknown length of time. Finally welcomed the sunshine again. And at the airport, aliens from various civilizations. Everyone looked at all of this in confusion, until the sunlight became increasingly intense. The talents of various civilizations suddenly realized. A great disaster is about to arrive. Quickly, hurry onto the spaceship and leave here. We are too close to the star. Without the barrier of the Dyson sphere, we will be burned to ashes. Screams echoed like porcelain shards. People rushed to their respective spaceships. They rushed to escape the airport one after another. At this moment, the airport lost control of the Soyeran dispatch, unable to bear the crowding of so many spaceships. The story involves a collision between spaceships. The sound of continuous explosions echoed. Everything became more chaotic. The light and heat of the stars increasingly shine upon the airport. The airport nearby is under the intense glare of the stars. The steel used for constructing the airport has even started to heat up as the surrounding environment worsens increasingly. Countless spacecraft still stuck in the airport finally couldn't resist opening the weapon safe. They began to turn on each other to fight for the escape route. For survival, intelligent life will continuously surpass its own limits. A large number of ships from different civilizations escaped, and those who didn't manage to escape, as the light of the stars shines down closely. These belong to the ordinary civilization's spaceships. It's impossible to isolate such high temperatures. Each one was roasted to a deep red, finally exceeded the temperature limit that could be sustained. Even if the spaceship is fine for now, the intelligent life inside has also fallen silent. Revitalization. Temporarily halt the plan to obtain quality from La Moxe. The Earth turns. Target star. I commanded. The Soya civilization is beyond saving. But I can't just watch the Dyson sphere continue to rampage. Otherwise, those survivors who managed to escape with great difficulty. In the end, it's likely they won't escape disaster. The robot that has lost its restraints, continuously self-replicating and expanding. Ultimately, it will devour the entire galaxy, even become a disaster in the universe. This is something I don't want to see. Then the Earth began to turn, heading towards the stars. At the same time, the robot amalgamation twisted into an indescribable shape. surrounded by countless metallic bodies that seemed to reach out like tentacles. Moving in all directions, the ships of various civilizations are scattering and fleeing. From time to time, someone unfortunate gets crushed by these metal bodies. The roaring spaceship exploded. A small bright spot flickered beside the star. At that moment, civilizations in the midst of escape discovered Earth flying towards the stars against the odds. In an instant, all the spaceships seemed to grab hold of the last straw. One by one, they changed course and flew towards Earth, requesting refuge from Earth. I ignored them. I'd begin untangling the twisted and knotted Neem robots. Let them re-nanofiltrate and then re-aggregate together. The originally tangled parts were untangled again. Countless ordinary civilizations hiding behind Earth can only see. What was originally a Dyson sphere is now twisted together. Suddenly a blur. It was as if it turned into a mist. Then it recondensed into a solid form. It originally seemed tangled into a knot. A colossal celestial body, at least half the size of a terrestrial planet, no longer twisted into an indescribable shape. Meanwhile, that gigantic celestial body was continuously changing its shape. It flows through space as if it were a liquid. This incredible scene left them speechless. After controlling the rampaging Nemi robot, I had a sudden inspiration. Simply use these internal robots to supplement the Earth's mass. These variant Nemi robots. Since it can be used as a Dyson sphere, so it still meets the standards in terms of intensity. Cover it over the Earth. Used as a temporary dome. Replace the temporary dome once the real dome is completed. I couldn't help but feel excited. I originally thought it would take at least a few hundred more years to complete the Earth's dome. But if we use these variant intermeter robots, the temporary dome will be usable soon. Then the ecology on Earth will be able to recover. Jensen calculated after learning my thoughts. The calculation results show feasibility. Thus, the Nemi robot collective gathered together in space, flowing towards the Earth like a liquid. The ordinary civilization watched this incredible scene. Everyone was shocked into silence. Is this a miracle? A large number of inner robots gathered into spherical shapes, each around 100,000 meters in size, descending towards the surface of the Earth, docking steadily in various places on Earth. Some have been transformed back into fluid, filled the void of quality in the Pacific, restored the Pacific Ocean trench to its original depth. Some have flowed deep into the ground. Meanwhile, the Himalayas have been raised by more than 10,000 meters. The height of Mount Everest was originally 8,848 meters. It became 18,848 meters. A large number of variant inner rice robots, climbing up the already half-constructed Tianju, formed the upper part of the sky pillar. Afterward, the self-disciplined mechanical conglomerate will continue to build the heavenly pillar. For every meter that Tianju rises, the Nemi robot will shrink by 1 meter, until the true Tianju completely replaces the temporary Tianju. Soon, the temporary Tianju reached a height of 100,000 meters. The million temporary pillars have been completed. Then the Nemi robots centered around each Tianju, spreading in all directions, formed a temporary dome that enveloped the entire Earth. Next is the restoration of Earth's atmosphere, until the Earth's ecology is restored. That cannot be accomplished overnight. Conservatively estimated, it will take several decades to 100 years. Revitalization. Search within this galaxy. Is there a substance needed to restore the atmosphere? We need to replenish the atmospheric components that are dispersed on Earth. I commanded. Master, the 4th planet in the solar system. once should have been the home planet of the Soya people, although because of the loss of sunlight, above it was already a dead silence. But there are still ample atmospheric components there. Jenksing quickly replied, "So it's decided. This is the place. Quickly restore the atmospheric composition of Earth. As you command, Master. Additionally, do we need to see